Just because I love you, it don't mean I trust you. Everybody not to be trusted. Everybody around me thugging. Everybody around me drugging. Everybody around me hustling. Everybody know not to bring no new riggin' around me. They say I be bugging. Got racks in the go-yard luggage. Just cause I love you, it don't mean I trust you. Everybody not to be trusted.
What's up, everybody? Today, guys, is the ultimate podcast cheat code. I'm kidding. This is Uncut with Q. Super excited to have all of y'all here. You already know the scope of work, man. This is the thing. We don't run any ads on this show. I do this for the people. I love providing value to you guys. And so we have one favor to ask, and it's that you share the fucking shit out of the show. If you like the show and you get value from the show, all I ask is that you share it with your friends and your family and you tell other people about it, because I think that the world survives really well on a value exchange. You know, it's how America was built. So I'd like if we keep that same energy and that same love into doing this. We put a lot of time and effort, and I pay a lot of people a lot of money to put the show together, you know? So we don't ask for anything. That's the only thing. Share the show if you like it. If you don't share it, then we will do better on the next one. With that being said, man, we have different types of shows that we do. We have, where I come on here, I say some shit from my mind, call it Real Talk. We have Trey and Q surf the web. We go on the internet, we look at things that are trending, and we talk shit about it. And it is what it is. It's really fun. And then we have a Q&A thing. You guys can go to www.quentinflores.com/askq and submit your questions so we can answer them live on this podcast. And that's just for anything business. We're entrepreneur, business related. We've been top 1% in the world for fucking probably 6 months standing now. And we're only growing. So with that being said, you know, it's not all just about real estate. This podcast, we have so many unique guests on here. Like my friend Mitzi, we have a show called Mindset with Mitzi. You guys make sure you check it out. With that being said, this show in specific is a little bit different. This is where I bring somebody on. They've done amazing things in their life. They're very, very well known, or they are just on the come up, and they're going to talk about how they did a bunch of amazing shit to get to where they're at right now. And so with that being said, man, I got a good guest, bro. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the world, man.
First of all, I just say thank you, brother. Thank you for bringing me on the show. And just to follow on what you just said about sharing it, one of my things is like share the wealth. We live in the age of abundance.
Yes.
So I really believe that, man. And I think like it goes to show why you doing what you're doing right now and having people just like no sponsors. I mean, ask you like, can I put this here? Because Rain's not sponsoring your show, right? So like, hey, out of respect to you, I want to make sure that's okay. But it goes to show why your show's top 1%, man. And congratulations on that.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. It's barely been sparking. I have never focused on content creation the way that I have recently. You know, when we built this studio, I put over $250,000 into this, way more than that, paying the staff to run it. And I'm very proud of what I've been able to accomplish, you know, but I've been meeting some amazing people in this creation space. We were talking about it off the camera. We were talking about we follow creators based on the quality of the content that they deliver.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally what drew me to you, you know? I love watching your videos. You're very informative, and you have a specific style that I vibe with and that I resonate with that I want to replicate for my stuff, you know?
We're going to do it.
Like, man, I'm just going to reach out to this dude and see if he's down to be on this podcast. So here we are, man.
Yeah. So I've been a creator for about 21 years, man. I've been doing this for a while. I actually got into creating content when I was 7 years old. My parents had a store called Fashion Report. And they came to, it was like a fashion store for women. And the local TV station came to film a commercial in there. And I saw that same camera that they were using to film the commercial. Across the store, there was a Radio Shack, which I knew all the employees there because I would hang out at the Radio Shack. And they had the same exact camera. And I was like, Mom, you paid $800 to do this commercial today. That camera is only $2,000. Like, you can do commercials every single day. So my parents actually went and bought the camera. We never filmed the commercial, but we ended up filming a bunch of like short skits and short films. And I had two older brothers, which were a blessing to me because they were able to like teach me all these things. So at a very young age, I had the skills of like a 13, 14, 15-year-old when I was only 8, 9 years old, you know, because my brothers were kind of like leading the way. And it was such an amazing experience and such a beautiful feeling to be able to film something. And I'm talking about 1993, 94, be able to film something, right? And then invite your friends over to play it for them. and have that experience that nobody could create. I was the only person in the neighborhood that could create that experience for my friends. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is before somebody could scroll, and before you could post, you could invite your friends over and you showed them what you created over the weekend. And naturally, I just became that person that was always intrigued by anything that was tech related. I started browsing the internet in 7th grade, had AOL. And do you remember AOL? Are you that old to be
able to? I am that old.
Yeah, so
I was there.
Yeah, so
I was there when it was written.
Yeah, so it wasn't really safe to surf the web back then. There was a lot of like porn sites were the main things that was available, or like little random chat sites, and I was there like learning things, and so that led me to be learning how to code HTML. Mm-hmm. So I became a developer at a very I was like 15 years old when I built my first site, and the name Digital Jeff comes from that, because I was the go-to person for anything like from fixing your TV to installing internet to building the website, whatever that is. In this small town of Laredo, I was that kid that people went to. So at a very young age, I was already speaking to like businessmen, and I was speaking to like community members about everything from marketing to branding to things that were out of my, I didn't even comprehend half of these things. I just understood the technology. So, at the age of 16, 17, I knew that I wanted to become a filmmaker. I already knew that I'm going to become a filmmaker, go to Hollywood, do the whole, acting, movie, directing, producing. And one of my inspirations actually from San Antonio, Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, love his movies, man. Great stuff.
So, so I watched one of his short films called Bedhead. Have you seen that one?
No, I have not.
Oh, you got to watch it. It's such a great film.
I think he did Desperado, which is one of my favorite films of all time. And truthfully,
El Mariachi.
my love for Hispanic women grew.
Salma?
Yes. Salma Hayek.
Yeah.
Man, that's a woman.
Yes.
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez, phenomenal. I've met him at Comic-Cons here. He's very well known here in San Antonio.
Yeah, so he inspired me to pursue filmmaking, and I'll touch back into him right now. But so at the age of 17, I was at ready to be applying for school. So I was applying for all these different film schools, and during that process of applying for film school, my girlfriend at the time, she comes in and tells me, "Hey, I gotta talk to you," and I'm like, "What's going on? What's the deal?" She looks very serious for the first time in a long while, and I was she's like, "Hey, we're gonna have a baby." So this whole this vision I had for me becoming a filmmaker, all of a sudden kind of just put it in the side, and I was like, "Oh shit, well, what are we gonna do?" So 2 weeks later, we're officially married. 2 weeks later, I'm still underage. I'm still a kid.
You were 17 when you got married?
I was 17 when I got married. Wow. And the whole trajectory of my life changed that moment, because it was no longer about me. It was about us, or it was about this idea of being a family man. And I heard a quote yesterday that really impacted me, and it reminded me of that moment. And the quote is, I am the man I am because of my father. Right. And my father was always that person that provided, no matter, at all costs. He was a provider, not only of the basics, the fundamentals of to be able to survive, but he was a provider of love. He was a provider of knowledge. He was a provider of all the things that encompass becoming a man. And for me, when that happened at that moment, I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's get married. Let's do whatever I have to do. I'm going to do it. I had it's so weird now to think of it. I had no fear of becoming the father. And I felt like it was going to be easy, right? It was going to be I got this. Don't. So this idea of me becoming a filmmaker and all that was put on the side. But my first job that I got was at Pizza Hut. And I was working 15 hours a day, literally from the time that it opened to the time it closed, I was there. And I remember getting one of my paychecks after working my ass off. Oh, I think I'm gonna make a lot of money this week or whatever. And I see my paycheck, I'm like, bro, I can't even what am I gonna do with this? So I was still around 17, 18 years old at the time, and I slowly realized that
what
I
was
had
minimum wage at that time.
At the time for me, you're gonna laugh when I tell you, it was $2.50.
Wow.
$2.50 per hour, because I was a waiter too. So it would kind of make money on the tips, and it would kind of add up to a certain extent. But I realized that the only way out was for me to figure out how to channel this energy that I had been doing the previous years, like building websites, doing photos or videos or things of that nature. And I decided to go all in on that. And, I was 18 years old when I opened my first studio. And before I opened my first studio, I went and I booked my first photo shoot.
Wow.
I booked my first photo shoot before I've been opening my first studio. And the way it happened is there was this lady that asked, like, somehow she got a hold of me. She's like, hey, my daughter's gonna have a quinceañera. And
it's always a quinceañera.
Yeah, so the quinceañeras hooked me up. So, I was like, she's like, how much do you charge for a photo shoot? And I was like, it's $500. And she said yes, like instantly, like without thinking about it. She said yes. And I had never seen that kind of money in my life. Think about it, 500 is like, but at the moment, at that age of 18, I had never seen that type of money. And like, I was like, I just made more money in 2-3 minutes talking to somebody with something that I love to do, and versus like working, 60 hours a week. So it was just like a shift of perspective on how I can go about getting out of poverty, getting out of the gutter, So, and I was also blessed with my parents always being entrepreneurs. And that's one thing a lot of people don't know about me is like my mom had so many different businesses me growing up, like logistics companies, retail. We had a balloon company where we would do like decorations for ballrooms.
It's a good foundation.
Yeah.
To have,
And then,
that's like mentors, really.
Yeah, they were my mentors. Yeah. And I was learning about numbers and business and how networking works and how marketing works, how logos work. And I had it all. I had all the skills to be able to do it. And, that for me just kind of like I feel like the camera saved my life, because without a camera, this technology, I wouldn't have been able to like break through at that moment. And that moment was very crucial for me, because I would have easily given up. And going back to Robert Rodriguez, I saw and this is what makes it fun, because I was in the trenches, like shooting quinceañeras, like 50, 60 a year, like weddings, quinceañeras. Like, yeah, I was crushing it at that point. And, I was 20, 21 years old, making good money. And, at that time I had like 3 or 4 people working under me. Like, it felt great to be able to like provide and everything. But I was at that catch-22 where I no longer wanted to touch a camera. I was like, man, I don't feel the same way anymore. So I bought a VHS tape, an old VHS tape of Robert Rodriguez. I think it was one of those, like El Mariachi or one of those. And at the end of the film, there was a short little, it called 10-minute film school. And Robert Rodriguez explains how he made El Mariachi for $7,000, which is his first feature film. So he talks about the whole concept of, he was able to like, this is the way I got the actors for free. This is the way I got the camera for free. This is where I spent the money. Like, the majority of the money was spent actually developing the film. So
there's an amazing quote I want to share with you, because it's in alignment with that. I'm named after Quentin Tarantino. My mom's favorite movies is Jackie Brown. And that movie came out the year before I was born. And she watched that movie like 20 times in a row, saw that the director's name was Quentin, and that's where I got my name from. But it was the only movie that we had when I grew up in Cleveland before I came down here. And when I was living in Cleveland, I was staying with my dad's wife. And my mom was with my dad, but that wasn't my dad's wife. My dad had a wife that he didn't tell my mom about. When we went up there, my dad had just went to prison for trafficking methamphetamine. So he had to serve 3 years. So I spent 3 years of my childhood being born there, because my mom got pregnant while she was visiting my dad before he went to prison. And then I was born there, staying with my dad's ex-wife. My mom stayed with my dad's ex-wife because my mom was an orphan. She don't have any family. None. No immediate family whatsoever. So we are all that my mom has. I'm one of 6. But I grew up watching those Quentin Tarantino movies, bro, and I knew one day I was going to open up a studio and take this content thing seriously.
Yeah.
There's a quote from Quentin Tarantino, and I love it so much. And he said this about the Blair Witch Project. So the Blair Witch Project is the highest grossing film of all time, because it only cost them $25,000 to make that movie, and yet it made upwards to, I think, $90 to $100 million.
Correct.
In gross company revenue. This movie, though, they used low budget cameras to put it together. When they asked Quentin Tarantino what he thought about the Blair Witch Project movie, you know what he said? He said, "You don't need a good camera to make a great movie." That has always stuck with me,
Hey,
man.
I believe in that.
That's one of my favorite quotes of all time, bro.
Yeah.
So I look at that and I'm like, dude, you're able to do so many great things with what you had. And even when you had that team and you were building up on it, I mean, you were still making great things, you know? And I think that that's such an undermined thing. You don't, like, a lot of these content creators, they go on YouTube and they're like, what equipment do I need to become a content creator? And then they look it up and they buy all this equipment. Like, bro, just get a camera.
Get a camera.
Get a camera and start. That's
Yeah.
where you're.
You have it right here,
bottlenecking
man.
yourself, man.
You have it literally right here.
Boom, right there. You know,
Yeah.
you don't even need
You don't
all
even
of this
need.
stuff.
Yeah, it's always you always bet on the jockey no matter what.
It's an add-on, definitely, because
Yeah.
I started content creation from my phone as well. But that was like 5 years ago, and I started taking the content creation space seriously. Keep going, brother. My bad.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, I love the insight on Quentin. And now I see why. I actually was going to ask you, like, why, like, Quentin, like,
Yeah.
you don't hear that name.
I've made a few short films
Yeah,
too, man.
yeah.
I've done skits. I've replicated Pulp Fiction. I also replicated Training Day.
Which scene?
Pulp Fiction was when they have, what's his name? It's it's Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta, and they have the guns. I was the guy who gets shot. Jeff, I think that's what his name is.
Yeah.
Anyways, we didn't use real guns. We used money guns for the whole skit, but we
Okay.
replicated everything to the T. It took me 2 days to make that film. And we did Training Day when he goes in and he signs up for the Training Day, and he walks around with Denzel Washington in the beginning, and they hop in the car and he gives them the rundown.
Yeah.
He's like, it's Training Day. I got 25 offices, 30 officers, and 18 cases that I'm still trying to figure out. I supervise 20 acquisition agents, XYZ, XYZ. If you're going to be working under me, you're going to do what I say when I say it, and XYZ. Like my guy, Aaron, the dude that you met over there, he did Denzel, and he played a very good Denzel. I love in content, there's so many different ways that you can look at it.
Yeah.
Because you have the production of it. You need a whole team to do that, you know? You could do it yourself, but now you're a slave to production. Then you have a team that just does lighting. Like, that's all they do. Then you have makeups and effects. Then you have sound, right? Like, there's just so many
There's so
different
much. It
variables.
never ends.
It never ends. And so, like, I think you just got to find where you thrive, man. I always thrive in a leadership position.
I
in
think you're
anything
more of
that
a
I do.
director. I was about to say that. Yeah.
When I first created this company, my guy Jack gave me that title of director, and Jack's the guy sitting behind you. He's super awesome, but he's been with me since the beginning. And you know, I didn't know what director was. I just was telling everybody what I felt we needed to do to execute. You know, but I love creating the image, and then I love bringing it to life, man. And I see that you do that very well with the retro theme that's consistent in your videos, and then your thumbnails, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I saw you just released the thumbnail cheat code,
The
right?
cheat code for the thumbnails, man. I'm like, I gotta give it away. Like, people need to get hooked up. This is a problem. Like, one of the things I've studied is that there's a lot of viral videos. Every day there's a viral video, like maybe like 10 viral videos that you run into, like 50 million views on Instagram or something. And then you click on the account, it doesn't have any followers. And I'm like, I didn't understand why. Like, why did this guy got 50 million views on a video that he posted 3 days ago? Why does he have followers? And I realized that Instagram, one little change they made this year. So this is the secret sauce here. When you click on, so if you watch my video today, right? You've never heard about me, and then you click on my account, it doesn't send you to my original profile. It sends you to my Reels account. And your Reels account, it allows you to change the thumbnail for all your reels. You know what I mean? So now you can actually create an experience for somebody that's never seen your page, to where it's like cataloged. It's like a candy store. You walk into it, and now you can see, oh, I want to watch this video. It's about this. It's about Instagram cheat codes, or it's about, you know, like soul ties, or it's about the creator, like whatever that, like now I've created an experience for people to easily follow me. So before I even went viral, I had optimized my account so that when I do go viral, it's an easy follow. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
I literally scrolled through your page today and did exactly that. I was
Yeah.
looking at something that I haven't seen before. I think one of your videos went so viral it got taken down. I forgot which one it was. It was the one click book.
Yeah, one click book got taken down.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Why would that get taken down?
I don't know, and it's interesting because I posted it like 2 times. It got taken out. It could taken out twice, and I got violations twice. So at the third strike, you're out, right? So I didn't post it anymore. Like, all right, cool. But then somebody tags me. I see a Twitter video of somebody, you know, like when you post it on TikTok and it automatically watermarks it.
Yep.
Like somebody else posted my video, got millions of views, and then grabbed that video, reshared it on Twitter. That's where I found it. Like it went so viral that I found it on a random ass account. I found myself in another account.
People take my videos and do that too, man.
So
I hate it.
yeah, well, I mean, I didn't really care about it.
It kind of comes back home anyway, you know, but it's like at least tag the creator, you know what I'm saying?
And that's actually what I commented, like, hey man, you could have at least tagged me, you know, like some common courtesy here. Some
One thing. Just
AI has officially ended the ethical code. Yeah, bro. So, you know, it's, for me, it was, I think it was more of a, I don't know why. I don't know why it kept getting banned. I just don't know why. I don't know.
I think when you're really good at what you do and it disrupts the algorithm and they feel that it's a threat because of the amount of information, you know, they just tend to fight back against the creator for no fucking reason. You know, Twitter's like total, like it's warfare in Twitter. You go to Twitter, you're going to see some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
I tell everybody, Twitter's like the bottom barrel of the internet, bro. Like if you are going to get, like if you are easily offended, don't go to Twitter, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like seriously, like that is the worst place. And, you know, all of these other platforms are really just trying to catch up to what Twitter is doing. You know, the whole subscription to blue check mark. Now everybody's paying for blue check marks. And I have like people in your friends list that aren't even content creators that have nothing to really showcase that have blue check marks now.
Yeah.
And there's no benefits to it. Facebook support. Okay.
What?
Like, when am I going to talk to a real person? Because I've yet to get that support that he's.
I've actually
making me pay for.
haven't tried it.
It's the worst, man. It's the worst. It is what it is, man. You know, but at the same time, it's a money grab. You know, they saw Elon do it. Obviously, they're going to try to mimic the same thing. And you know, it's amazing how these softwares, as ahead of they are, they're really using their own platform to get even further because they can't think of that same level of creativity. I promise you, all the stuff that you're talking about with the AI stuff, we're just a couple of months, if not maybe a year or two away from seeing that being used in such extravagant, advanced way. You know, what's missing for a lot of people is just the money to put up for it. That's it.
Yeah.
But now that these big name companies are getting used to it, bro, in the real estate space, one of my guys, his name's Pace Morby. He's developing an AI right now that can literally make an offer on a person's property, send a contract and get the signature signed, and literally like underwrite the entire deal for you. Yeah. Like I'm talking like run the comparables on it, talk to the seller for you, negotiate via text message. They're even working on a voice where the voice will talk. Yeah. I think that's crazy, man. Yeah.
So I'm part of all that.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So one of the fun things that we were building this week was like, okay, if I send a text message to, let's say on your profile, you put like, if you want to buy a house, text this number, like a 5-digit number. Somebody text that number, and it'll automatically start having a conversation with them, like a realtor. Like, okay, what kind of house you're looking for? What are the requirements? Or it'll start having the conversations like, oh, I have, I want to spend $300,000 and I want to live in North San Antonio. Okay, let me look it up for you. And then, okay, here's option 1, option 2, option 3. It'll start having a conversation until the deal gets made, like from start to finish. And now you, as a broker, can have 1 million chatbots selling homes all over the world.
Wow.
So what are the legalities of that? That's where it might take years to figure that out, because there's got to be some type of protection for people's livelihood to a certain extent. And I have gotten a lot of pushback, especially like, because I've been in the AI space for a while, and this is not new. Like I'm talking about it now, and the reason I'm talking about it now is because in the AI space, especially in the creator space, every AI creator speaks to the other AI people that are into AI. You know what I mean? Like they don't talk to like the general masses. I came into the space talking to the general masses. I'm talking to like the people who've never heard about ChatGPT. You know, those are the people I'm talking to. So I came into the space to talk about it in that angle, not in the I'm the expert that is going to tell you about, you know, like the intricate details of how something works. Like I want to talk to like the person that could use it today to write a Mother's Day card for their mother. You know, that's the person, you know, so
and I used it. My mom has no idea.
Yeah, me too. So.
She's about to know. Shit.
She's like, whoa, you went out of your way this year.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Digital Jeff. Like literally.
So,
but you're absolutely right, man. I feel that we're in the middle of an entire economic shift with AI being introduced in every mass scale that you can think of, and in the real estate industry. But that thing that you were talking about, right? This is called robo texting. I believe that's the term that we use. So if I'll give you an example. In my real estate business, we send out probably 400,000 or 500,000 text messages every month. I use an automated platform that texts them. So it used to send it all out at one click of a button. They don't allow you to do that anymore. So they, I believe it was called like the Robo Dialer, Robo SMS Act of like XYZ. It was a bill that passed last year. This bill stated that there has to be some type of human aspect to the messages that get sent out. Meaning that if I'm going to send out 500,000 text messages, I have to click and verify each message now before they get sent out. I used to just one button, boom, and the whole world would hear my message of, I want to buy properties. It's not like that anymore. So what we did to offset that was we downloaded a software that would allow for us to auto click. So then one of my VAs, and I have virtual assistants overseas. I own a large virtual assistant company. I am the king of delegation, my friend.
Yeah.
But with the VAs that we have, they work for this editing team. We have 8 that work for the editing team. I have 25 that work for the real estate office. And then I have about maybe 300 that work within the Philippines for other clients.
Yeah.
We all have a system now where they have one mouse and it just clicks on it like massively and it moves through all of them very quickly. So it is kind of manual, kind of still cheating, but it's what we had to do to pivot and get around those random bills and things that they started throwing out there to make our job harder.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to buy houses, dude. I'm trying to help that person who's in a really crappy situation by purchasing their property from them and giving them a cash solution because they don't have anything else.
Or they lose everything
to give. They either take this or they lose it all, you know?
Yeah.
Do I profit off of it? Absolutely. I'm a businessman. I'm a capitalist, bro. Like, it's not my fault that you're in that situation. All I can do is give you a solution to help you with with a problem that you created, you know? So yeah, there are like rules and regulations I see, man. Is there anything that's big that's stopping things from happening or moving faster that you're seeing on your end?
Well, the problem is that the way things work is like things move very slow, but technology like this, especially this technology, is exponentially growing by the second. So you can't catch up to it. What do you do? Like, what do you do when I tell you, look, I want to grab all your podcasts and I'm going to create a chat bot, the Quentin chat bot. When people send you a message to your DMs on your Instagram, they're not going to know they're not talking to you. That's how accurate it is. I'll be able to have a conversation. I'll know your whole backstory, everything, how you think about every single thing you've said in your past that's recorded. I can use it now to train an actual AI chatbot for you. So think about that. Like, how do you...
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
So I wasn't talking to Jeff?
No, you were.
Oh, okay, cool. Just making sure.
Maybe.
I had to ask, man, because I'm like, yo. I think that's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. So, what are the regulations behind doing that?
That's the thing. How is the regulation going to catch up? They're trying to put a pause on it right now, and I kind of agree with the pause because we don't really know. There's actually a famous scene on the movie The Matrix when Morpheus is explaining to Neo for the first time what the Matrix is, and they're in this white room, and Morpheus sits down and turns on the TV, and he's like, around the 21st century, mankind was so thrilled about himself where they introduce this technology called AI.
Yep.
That movie in 98, 99 predicted this moment. And then he said, at a certain point, we don't know exactly when it happened, AI became singular, where it was either going to be humans or AI that was going to rule. And that's how the whole movie, The Matrix, is based on that moment of that we're experiencing right now. So it was kind of like this idea of like, and I don't know, you talk about conspiracies on your podcast or not, but one of the conspiracies right now is that that was actually not a movie; it was a documentary. Like the movie The Matrix was a documentary.
Wow.
Yeah, and this right here is not based reality. We are in the simulation. So if you look at my profile, one of my things that I put on my profile is like freeing creators from the Matrix, because ideally, like if you don't know the truth, then how can you wake up?
That's powerful. You know, one of the things that I love about that movie, because I think a lot of people are struggling to even believe that this stuff is actually real and that it's being created. And Morpheus tells Neo this. He says, "What's real?" He says, "What's really real?" He says, if real is just what you can see, taste, and touch, then real is nothing but electronic signals interpreted by your brain. So when you're able to define like a system, we're talking about artificial intelligence here. We're thinking about something that can think and breathe on its own and learn on its own. You know, it's really not as far-fetched as a movie anymore. It used to be. And now it's like such a developed system that's being literally like put into everything that we do. We're seeing so many different AI ads now. You got an AI for everything. You got an AI assistant. Like you got an AI mom.
You got
girlfriends. AI girlfriends.
You can have an AI girlfriend now.
I saw that. That's crazy.
You saw that video?
Yes, that's insane. I mean,
I got a lot of hate on that one. I got so much hate on that. I was like, I shouldn't have put in that one out. Like,
but why? You know why?
I think people are just it's going back to the truth, man. Like think about you work with a lot of people, but you have your own space, right?
I do.
And I talk about to like people that I work with. I'm like, you got to have your own space where you can tune in, because when you tune in, that's really when you feel. That's really when you can act in power, right? This whole world is based on distractions, like from your phone. Like how many times do you pick up your phone, like just without even wanting to pick it up? Like I do that all the time. I'm like, all of a sudden I'm on my phone. Like, how did I end up here scrolling again? How? Like I was tuned in, now I'm tuned out, right? So the whole idea of like freeing creators from the Matrix is like, how can I put you into a monk mode where you can now thrive? You can now build something. You can now focus on a goal that you want to accomplish, whether that's like, you know, for me at the time, you know, I have different goals right now, but like back when I was just trying to get out of poverty, it was like, I want to build something that I can provide, where I can, you know, and still be able to have fun in doing it and stuff like that, you know? So, you know, I had to go into this cave, and at the time it was my garage, and ironically I'm in another garage right now, you know, 20 years later, but the circumstances are a lot different. So this whole concept of like tuning in is really the only reality that I feel like that's the real reality, being able to tune in. And a lot of people are just afraid of that. So when you show something and you put it online that triggers that, it's like people go crazy, man. You should read some of my comments. I had this guy, which I respect, Dr. Brett Jones. He went off on one of my videos, had a nasty comment. But you look at his page and he's like this conscious meditating and chiropractor, like super woke. Yes, and I was like, if this guy got triggered, imagine somebody that's completely asleep. Like that's why that video got 600,000 shares, 24 million views. Think about that, because it was so like disruptive. It was just like messing with people's reality. And if you watch that scene I'm talking about, the Matrix scene, at the end of the scene, the way it ends is Neo looking down at the floor. He looks down at the floor and he's like in disbelief. And in the base reality where he's like connected,
they pull him out.
They pull him out and he throws up. It was so disrupted that he threw up. So in some of these videos, my intention is to do that. I'm intentionally like hitting that, like, and people don't want to accept it.
I think that it's a beautiful thing, to be honest. And it is what it is, bro. But I mean, you always talk about cheat codes. You're giving people, like you say, share the wealth. This is the ultimate wealth cheat code, bro.
Exactly.
Like it really is. If you go back through and watch every single one, because I've been watching all of your videos recently, each one is going to add something to you. So I just fired my my food person, the lady who does all of my food preps. I hired somebody in-house in my office. I was able to use AI to create a customized meal plan. So yeah, not that it's a bad thing, but I'd say that your video
Inspired that.
You know what I mean? But she's amazing at what she does. She makes great food, right? But I hired someone in my office who has the compatibility, the capability to cook, and I gave her the grocery list. I even gave her the portions of food because I use AI to tell me what the amount of chicken would weigh if I were to order this food on a 2,500 calorie deficit diet for bodybuilding strictly. And it created the grocery list, created the cooking list, and also created a playlist of videos for each dish and how I would like it to be prepared. And I did all of that using shit that you told me. And so she's starting to make my food next week on Monday because I have one last week left with this lady. And I'm saving about, I think in total the food costs about $80. She asked if I buy her food. So I just say I pay $230 a week for my food preps. I'm down to like $120 now.
Wow, man. It's amazing, bro. You know what's crazy about that? Like, there's 300,000 people have used that meal prep for free.
I saw that on Snack Prompt. You have an account on there.
I'm like the #1 snack prompter right now.
Are.
Yeah. Actually, the founder called me, reached out to me, and, you know, was really appreciative of me, like, doing all these videos. And he offered me equity in the company.
What?
Yeah. So I took the deal, and they're about to go raise their first round. They're bootstrapped. So if just last week, they were able to acquire 75,000 new users. And, you know, if they get to 500,000 users before they raise, you're talking about a $50 million appraisal. So just instantly, like that's $1 million deal for me, multi-million-dollar deal for me to just create like 5 videos. Think about how powerful that is. That's
5 million.
Yeah.
For 1 million for 5 videos.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
But you're also very knowledgeable on how humans gather information. Like when I say this, I don't mean it like I'm not a human. I mean it in a third party perspective. I create avatars for my audience. I know who watches my content. I know who pays for my services. My partner and I, we have a coaching business where I teach people how to flip houses without using any of their own money. I'm very good at getting people's attention. I've been doing it for years. And so with the knowledge that I have interpreted to the level of coaching that my partner is able to give in these platforms, I promote and I market. We created a beast of, I think it's probably pumping about $20,000 in passive income. Wow. That's every month. And that's all of our bills paid, me and my partner. And that's just a community that we're thriving in. Now our community is contracting properties and bringing them to us because we have a whole ecosystem inside of it now.
Yeah.
Reason why I'm saying this is because, brother, like presence is power, man. Like presence will give you so many amazing things. And if more people know of you and you're giving out quality information and you're paying attention to details, like I see how your videos loop and keep you in. Yeah. I'll watch them 5 times in a row just to see the loop part at the end. That's it.
How do you do this? Yeah.
And it's great, you know. I saw that last one you did, right? And it was so controversial. I knew what you were aiming at when I saw it. And you're like, what if I told you can use AI to talk to God? Oh, yeah. When I showed my partner, because my partner is super religious, right? He has a very strong relationship with God. He shares it with me too. So I'm always learning from him different ways that I can be connected to the Lord Almighty. And I'm very, 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 I have a strong relationship with God. So when I was showing him the video, he was just like blown away because he was thinking like, there's no way AI can make you talk to God. But then you reverse engineered it. So it was like the scripture, that is the source.
That is the
source. If God were to
source.
write you a letter today, what do you think it would sound like? And then it went back and looped because let me tell you how you can use AI to talk to God. And it was like, I was like, wait a second, did I just watch it again? It was literally like that, man. I get hype when I see videos like that because it just, I share them with my team here and I tell them this is how we got to replicate it and this is how we can get better. Yeah. So I think that your videos are helping people save a tremendous amount of money and they're disrupting the order that's in place and showing people that they've been slaves to a certain system for far too long. And you know, I saw one of your videos too. You're like, God, what am I going to do with all this free time? There is a tremendous amount of free time now. And I love those videos so much, bro. I want to give you your flowers on my podcast.
Thank you, man.
Tell you, man.
I appreciate that, man.
I see them.
I'm glad you see all the little things.
They're amazing, man. Yeah. From one content creator to another.
I feel like half of the people, like I was in another podcast yesterday and like a lot of people don't understand how intentional every word in the script is. You know, you talk about a filmmaker, that's making a feature film, like the first sentence of the movie impacts the rest of it, right? And you can't have one versus the other. Like everything's intentional. That's why like Stanley Kubrick, when his last film, they asked him to take out 20 minutes from the film, and he denied it. You know, do you know that story?
No.
Yeah. Well, that's so. But let me make my point first.
Okay,
but like, and I'll tell you that one. That's a crazy story. So it turns out that a lot of people don't understand these things that you're picking up on, based on my interview yesterday. Like they don't understand like this concept of like reverse engineering. Like I put out like a hook that was so like, imagine if I could tell you that I could speak to God today using the AI, would you? Right? It's like it's almost messing with people's like spirituality, you know. Yeah. And I'm very spiritual, and you can if I saw that video, I'd probably get offended too. Mm-hmm. But then I have a pastor that sends me a DM, and he says, "Hey Jeff, like what you put out is super powerful. I actually believe it's actually going to have a ripple effect on people's spirituality in a positive way." And when I put out the video, I felt that. I felt that is actually a good thing that I'm putting out this video. And this is something so, like in the grand scheme of things, is so minor. But I did it in a way that if I just went out there and said, "Hey, check this out, like you can use AI to read Bible scriptures," nobody would have watched the video. Nobody would have cared. So then I had to like poke the bear so he can wake up and say, "Hey, here's the honey. Here's the honey. Do you want it? Yes or no?" And I felt that I'm willing to take the heat when it comes to when I press publish on some of these. I feel it like I'm gonna take some heat for this one, but I'm willing to take it because that's at the end of the day, that's all that matters. It's beyond what I'm doing. You know, it's a higher order using me as a vessel.
Dude, I saw one of these comments that said that this guy hadn't read the Bible in years, and that he went and saw your video and then applied it, and that it was one of the most touching things that he had ever read. And he felt like God was talking to him, you know, and people don't know that, but the scripture, right? This is the word of God, bro.
Yep.
And so, you know, you send somebody a scripture, you're sending somebody words from the source. So yeah, I think that that's powerful. Yeah. Well, but you are right. The delivery, that you get their attention, then they see the honey and they want it. Yeah. I promise you. Regardless. I mean, some people might taste it. They're like, "What the heck is this, bro? Like, this is just crazy."
Some of the nastier comments like are people that don't actually go try it.
Yeah, or they don't even really believe in God. Don't even care for it. They just think that you're trying to go viral. Like, no, well, yeah, that is part of the agenda. Yeah. You wrote a script. You had specific editing involved. You have a specific style, a specific lighting. You're trying to capture the attention. You're building your brand. Mm-hmm. There are benefits that go with that, man. Yeah. Anybody who isn't doing that, well, you're just sleeping, bro. You could be that negative dude that just watches videos and talks shit all day on your couch. Or you can be the guy that's actually causing a whole wave to happen. Mm-hmm. I literally have not been using AI until I started watching your videos, bro. And you have probably like 15 to 18 videos that have gone viral very heavily where you've been talking about this stuff.
Correct.
I look at all of your content from last year. None of it was hitting the way that it's hitting now. Yeah. You know, so not only do you recognize that this is a wave, but you pay attention to detail as a creator and as somebody who's been in the business. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, another thing we do, and I don't know if you know this, but like we do a thing we call psych hacking.
What is that?
So if you just listen to the audio without watching it, it's kind of like hearing a notification on your phone and you automatically open it. So one of the things I did is like the majority of my audience is in their 30s, and I was like, well, what's the most popular thing that I experienced growing up? And I thought of two things: the Chicago Bulls. And I thought of Street Fighter, the game.
Love both of those things.
Yeah. So for me, if you listen to the audio, there's this ad lib that happens in specific points of the video where it's the sound effect. Perfect.
I saw that. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yo, did I hit it? I did it pretty good, right?
Yeah, you hit it.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, man. So you see, everybody connects to that. Even so, I'm like tapping into people's childhood without them even knowing it, and it brings them into the present moment. Like actually, it's so weird because if you think about it, like you're disconnected when you're on your phone, you're disconnected. But how can you tune back into the feelings? And that's why people get triggered, bro, because they're so like invested in this message. They're like, wow, like they'll leave a comment, whether it's a beautiful comment or a nasty comment. There's never in between comments. It's either side of the spectrum. So psych hacking for me is something I would tell you, like, and I can show you different ways to do it, but like that's one of the more obvious ones. And then the other one is like, you know, every video game growing up, like Mega Man, Mario Brothers, like all these, like every time you would power up, there's a little like,
boop, 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 boop,
yeah.
Like when Mario eats a mushroom.
Yeah. So I had those sound effects as people are getting the message. Like, oh, I just got this. And
do the sonic rings on the next one.
Yeah, the sonic rings would be dope.
I love doing that. I saw this chick, I guess she was in San Antonio. She got straight up like tossed by a cop. Like this chick literally like on the ground. She was a big woman. I don't like when you see it, you're just like, wow, that must hurt. But then somebody edited the video with sonic rings, so when she hit the ground, it's ding 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 ding.
Oh my goodness! So you see,
but that went viral. You know?
See, you take out the rings, and it still might go viral, but not as impactful.
Not as impactful as with the sonic rings. You know, if I'm gonna get suplexed, I want sonic rings to pop out.
Yeah,
dude. Honestly, bro, this whole podcast has been just tremendous, man. What do you have planned for the future? Now you have this equity thing that you have going on with Snack Prompt. You're clearly have a style and a brand that you're interpreting, and people are starting to know you. I know I ain't gonna be your last podcast. You know what I'm saying? What are some plans that you have moving forward, man, with all this tech and whatnot and everything that you're applying?
I've always been a creator, man, and I think for me it's it's a two-faced question that first is like I've been behind a lot of big brands. Like people don't know this, but I'm behind a lot of the bigger brands on social media. Like I'm the guy behind the scenes, strategically creating formats and styles for people to blow up. And I thrive on that. I thrive on seeing other people's like just succeed. So that's been kind of like my one of the things that really helped me is when I moved to New York City, I created a show called Leaders Create Leaders. And the show Leaders Create Leaders became its own unique like capsule in time of how to create a podcast the way we're doing it. And the reason we created that show in that specific style, and I'll explain the style in a second, but like we created this show in that style because there was two shows online that were popular. There was the Joe Rogan Experience, and there was this one called Impact Quest. Not Impact Theory, Impact Quest by Tom Bilyeu. Before Tom Bilyeu sold his shares from Quest, the Quest bars, he had a show called Impact Quest, and there was two shows that were popular. Those are the only two shows. So I told my partner Gerard, I was like, the only way we can break through the noise is we create a format that hasn't been seen before, right? So I called this the Cinematic Podcast, and where we are gonna go into people's, like we come into your place here, we spend a day with you, and we create a podcast from that, not in a specific like room, like where we're at. And that show ended up becoming like 6 seasons, 7 seasons now. And I was able to break through the noise, one, but also connect with all the top creators. Like, you know, talking about Gary Vee before he was Gary Vee. Ryan Holiday, I got to spend a whole day at Ryan Holiday's ranch. You know Ryan Holiday?
Yeah.
I spent a whole day at Ryan Holiday's ranch with him, me and him, by like ourselves, like filming like his whole process, which I was able to extract his process for my writing abilities. Like I became a writer that day when I spent that whole day I spent with Ryan Holiday converted me into a full-time writer.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, oh wait, it's not so much about the brain, it's about the process he has. Right. So I was able to meet all these different people, even Andy Frisella. I became great friends with Andy Frisella, had 16 beers with him because of this show. So, you know, and the reason I wanted to talk about that is because that has now transitioned to me being behind the camera to being in front of the camera, which is I'm 1 month in being in front of the camera.
Well, how do your kids feel about all this?
I'm just their dad, bro. My son Jordan's really good about going viral. He's actually really good about going viral. My son Jordan, bro, he's 18 years old now. He just turned 18. On my account, on my Instagram account, I went viral with one of his videos. This is the funniest thing. Like, he's like, Dad, like, he sent me a DM. He's like, Dad, post this on your Instagram. This is about a year ago. It got 300,000 views overnight. And it was him like doing a selfie video, dark at night. You can't even see him. And he pushes my other daughter into a bush. And so
I think I've seen that video.
You've seen that video?
Yes. They're just walking casually, right?
Yeah.
Just like.
So you know, they've always seen me like with a lot of like celebrities. Like, I mean, I've been almost every social media celebrity. I've been with them in the same picture frame. Like, they've shouted me out, like stories.
I'm honored, bro. It means a lot.
So,
you being on mine.
So thank you, man. So they don't get phased. They're just, it's just normal. You know, it's like,
I saw a video that they did where they were just appreciating you, and it was awesome. Like, it was like an appreciation video, man.
Yeah.
I would have cried, bro.
dude, I had a knot in my throat the whole time. I was trying to hold it in.
I saw one of your kids, like, you know, my dad's always set the example that we can be great. There's never been a day where he hasn't believed in us. Man, I mean, I never got that from my dad, but I give that to my son every day, because what wasn't given to me was a lesson and a blessing. You know what I mean? So, like, I look at that like I can be either that or I could be the opposite. You know, where my dad was dark, I could be the light. Where my dad was angry, I could be the love. Where my dad was abusive, I could show people that I can protect them with the same power that I've been given.
That's
you know?
powerful, man.
And so my son will never know those things. I'm always gassing up my son and telling him that he can be great. And it seems that you've been doing that to them their whole lives, man.
Yeah.
I think that they're super proud of you, bro. And it's super awesome that you're doing all of these things. And even though you are just their dad, I would, if I was in their shoes, I'd see you as a superhero, man. And I'm sure
Thank
they
you,
do.
man. Appreciate that. Yeah. So, I mean, dude, yeah, it's powerful. I actually don't even know, like, how I was able to be a good dad. The fact that I was, you know, there's a few years of my life where it's like a blur. Like, I wouldn't be able to write a story about those years because I don't remember those years. And it was during the time where my kids were like, from the time they were born to like 5 years old, it was like I was just working. I was working, so stressed. I had a lot of insecurities about money. I had a lot of insecurities about who I was because all my friends were in college, like doing the college thing, and I was like I had a studio and I built websites and I shot quinceañeras, and that is like, and you know, like, and then I had a logistics company too. Like, I had all these like businesses, and I didn't understand that was actually like dope. When I really found out like how powerful I was, one of my friends graduated from UT Austin, and he was one of my best friends. And he called me and he was like, "Dude, I don't know what I'm gonna do in my life." I'm like, "Dude, I thought you were the one that had to figure it out." And he was like, "Jeff, like, can you hook it up with can you hook it with a job? Like, I gotta start paying my loans." I'm like, "Yes, I'll hook you up." Like, bro, yes, it'll be a dream to work together. So, and we were both captains in basketball, like in high school. So it was a dream to come work with me. And he provided this perspective on the reality of things. He was like, "Jeff, like, you're dope, man. Like, why do you have these insecurities?" Because I was very open with him. Like, "Dude, I have an insecurity. Like, I don't have a college degree. Like that." By the way, I ended up getting my college degree, but like at the time I didn't have a college degree. Yeah, I just felt like I had a different trajectory towards like what I wanted to do. And one of the things that really helped me was embodying like my journey, like what the cards I had been dealt. Like, I accept that. Like, yes, this is I'm still gonna be a film director. I'm still gonna be an entrepreneur. I'm still gonna be like mom's favorite. I'm still gonna do. Shout out to my brothers. Yeah, and you know, so allowed me to just be myself, man. At a very young age, I think like I was like 26, 27 when I finally like, all right, like I'm cool, like, you know, it's, and it allowed me to just have fun with life every day. Like I tell you, I bought my lightsaber because on my way out, it was just there. It was just there. Like it was like on my way out of my, I think one of my kids probably moved it. So it was just there. Instead of just leaving it there, I'm like, "Are you coming with me?" And I just threw it in my back of my truck. But like, I have that playful spirit that it's always just part of me. And one thing that I really enjoy about coming into your space, like when you show me your office and you're like, you say something about like, what did you say, like about making it home? Like,
if it ain't home, then you won't be there.
Yeah. So I feel like for me, like moving into my future is like, it's always been like this idea of being in the playground, that feeling you have when you're in the playground, like, you know, like it could be scary at times. Like if you do the monkey bars for the first time or you're doing a flip or something, it might be scary, but it's also fun and challenging. And it's like where you meet friends and stuff like that. And that's the way I like to feel about what I'm doing in the future is like, if I feel I'm in the playground right now, we're in the right trajectory. So it's hard for me to tell you like exactly what I'm going to build tomorrow, but I want to have fun doing it every single day.
Powerful, man.
Yeah.
Jeff, dude, I appreciate you being on my podcast, man. It's been a phenomenal episode, bro. Guys, I'm going to drop all of my dudes' social media. Follow him at Digital Jeff.
Digital Jeff.
On all platforms, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll see y'all on the next one.